There's a man at a console watching a teenage girl run from the edge of the forest, 2 kilometers from the nearest person who wants to kill her. She's about to get out. Watch him, not her, because the most famous victory in movie history is about to be decided by that guy at the keyboard, not by the girl.
She is almost at the edge, 2 kilometers away from the nearest tribune.
Let's turn her around.
The next thing we see is fire. A wall of it aimed at her, driving her back the way she came. Here's the thing nearly everybody remembers about the Hunger Games. One girl from a coal district beat the system. She held up a fistful of berries, dared the Capitol to kill them both, and the regime blinked. The most famous act of rebellion in modern history, the spark nobody saw coming. But I want to put a different version on the table. Katniss never won the Hunger Games. The Capitol produced her victory, start to finish, and only lost the remote for about 10 seconds at the very end. This channel is about the story a movie is actually telling underneath the one it's selling you, and on this one the machinery is right there on screen. The people who build the show keep telling you out loud exactly what they're doing. Listen to the man who runs the whole thing explain why a winner even exists.
A little hope is effective. A lot of hope is dangerous. Spark is fine, as long as it's contained.
A winner isn't a result. It's a delivery system for a measured dose of hope. Hold on to that, because everything else is the machine filling that order. So let me make the boundary clear up front, because it's what's keeping us honest. I'm not saying the whole thing was fake or that Katniss is secretly a capital stooge. I'm saying the victory was produced, and the rebellion was not. Those are 2 different outputs, and the film is precise about where one ends and the other begins. The one beat Katniss actually authored herself is the 10 seconds with the berries. We're going to earn our way to that. One quick flag before we go, the 2012 film is my canon, and anytime I quote the shooting script instead of what's on screen, I'll say so. Now, watch who's at the controls, and watch who benefits. Let's start with the single hardest piece of evidence in the whole film, because once you've seen it, you can't watch the arena the same way again. Most people remember the arena as a dangerous place, wild and unpredictable, nature trying to kill 24 kids. That's the feeling the movie wants you to have while you're swept up in it. But the arena isn't nature, it's a set and there are men running it. When Katniss makes her break for the edge of the map, the danger that turns her back isn't a forest fire, it's a decision. Think about what this actually proves. 3 things all at once. 1, they know exactly where she is down to the meter. The Capitol is surveilling her position in real time. 2, her movement through the arena is a production decision. Let's turn her around is not a description of something happening to her, it's an editorial choice about where the protagonist goes next. A man at a console is steering her like a piece on a board. The fire everybody remembers as the arena being scary is a tool. It's aimed. It exists to herd her back toward the other tributes because a girl safely sitting at the edge of the map is boring television. Let's address the obvious objection because it's a good one. The Capitol is trying to kill her. They lit her on fire. How is that producing her victory? If anything, that proves they wanted her dead. And here's the problem with that. A produced show isn't a frictionless coronation. A produced show needs danger or nobody watches. You can't deliver a great event with a girl hiding behind a rock for 3 days. So they steer her into peril to make the drama. That's the content. Whether she survives the peril is a completely separate lever, and we're going to see in a minute that they control that one too. The fire isn't them failing to kill her, the fire is them shooting an episode. And it isn't the only hazard with a hand behind it. When the career pack has her treed and they get bored of waiting, listen to how casually a threat gets summoned.
Let's just wait her out. She's gotta come down at some point, that or starve to death.
Even the dangers the other kids face are on a control board, and the wasps that nearly kill her, the film stops to tell you exactly what they are.
Now, tracker jackers are genetically engineered wasps whose venom causes searing pain, powerful hallucinations, and, in extreme cases, death.
These aren't wild wasps that happen to be in a nest above her, they're genetically engineered and placed there. They're a Capitol manufactured weapon placed in the Capitol built arena. The nature Katniss is surviving was fabricated in a lab and positioned in a tree. The arena isn't a wilderness she's outrunning, it's a stage with a control room, and the control room decides where she goes and what tries to kill her on the way. The hazards are authored, her path is authored, which raises the real question. If they're steering her through it on purpose, steering, not just killing, then where exactly are they steering her toward? Because somebody at the top has a reason to keep this particular girl on screen. Here's a question that should bother you more than it probably does. Why is there a winner at all? 24 kids go into the arena. The regime that runs it has tanks, an army, a televised execution machine, and total control over 12 starving districts. If the point were to just terrify people into obedience, there's a far simpler version of this. You don't crown a champion, you kill all 24 on camera and let the districts watch their children die for nothing. That would be pure fear. That's the cleaner threat. Snow knows this, he says it out loud.
Seneca, why do you think we have a winner?
What do you mean?
I mean, why do we have a winner? I mean, if we just wanted to intimidate the districts, why not round up 24 of them at random and execute them all at once? Be a lot faster.
He's not asking Seneca a riddle, he's testing whether his head game maker understands the actual product they're selling, and Snow gives him the answer in one word.
Hope.
So think about what that means. The winner is not the byproduct of the game. The winner is the entire point of the games. The Capitol needs one survivor a year because a survivor is hope. And hope is a more efficient leash than fear. Fear makes people desperate, and desperate people riot. Hope makes them wait. Hope makes them say, maybe next year it's our kid who comes home rich. Hope keeps them in line for free.
A little hope is effective. A lot of hope is dangerous, as long as it's contained. So, contain it.
That word, contain, is the thesis of the entire regime. Snow isn't describing a sporting event with an uncertain outcome, he's describing a dosage, a measured amount of hope dispensed over a year in the shape of a single human being. And you cannot contain something you don't control, which means the victor isn't found in the arena, the victor is found by the Capitol. The movie tells you this before a single tribute is reaped. Watch the propaganda film they screen at the reaping, in Snow's own voice.
The lone victor, bathed in riches, would serve as a reminder of our generosity and our forgiveness.
A reminder. The victor is defined in the regime's official messaging as a message. You don't let a reminder of our generosity be decided by random luck and a bow and arrow, you produce it. You might say, okay, the Capitol wants a winner, sure, but wanting a winner isn't the same as choosing one. Maybe they need someone to survive, but it's still a real fight for who that someone is. And that's exactly the question the rest of this answers, because the man in charge of the arena goes on television and tells you, in plain language, that picking a winner was never his job. In the shooting screenplay, the host asks Seneca what he's looking for in a tribute. I'd imagine I'm looking for the same things bettors look for: athleticism, intelligence, except my goal is to deliver a great event, as opposed to picking a winner. The head game maker decouples himself from the idea of a fair contest. He's not a referee, he's a showrunner. Now, that line is script not spoken in the film, so I'm not leaning the case on it. Think of it as the writer's room telling you what's in Seneca's head. The canonical version is on screen in Snow's Hope Doctrine, and in everything we're about to stack up. So if the outcome is a deliverable, who's delivering it? And how? So here's the part of the movie that kind of breaks the whole she fought her way out reading. Katniss never feeds herself to victory. She doesn't outfight the field. At the moments that matter most, what keeps her alive is a gift. A little parachute drifting down from the sky with medicine or food right when she'd otherwise die. And those parachutes don't come from nowhere. They come from sponsors. And the sponsors don't get to just send things. The flow is gated by the Capitol. Start with how survival even works. Before she's in the arena, Haymitch lays out the food chain. Staying alive isn't about fighting.
This can mean the difference between life and death. And those things only come from sponsors. And to get sponsors, you have to make people like you.
So survival runs on likability, which runs on sponsors. And in the shooting script, Haymitch spells out the last link in the chain, the permission gate. Sponsors pay for the gifts that might just keep you alive once you're inside the arena, assuming I like you enough to send them and Seneca likes you enough to let me. So Seneca Crane, the head game maker, every life-saving gift that reaches Katniss has to clear his approval first.
They already found me.
We'll just get you some medicine. We'll figure something out.
The gifts are rationed, handed out in measured amounts, controlled from above. The supply of survival is a dial, and the Capitol's hand is on it. Think about what that means for the word one. If they wanted Katniss dead, they don't need an assassin. They just don't send the parachute. The medicine never falls. The infection wins. No fingerprints. She lives because they let the gift through. Her survival is functionally on a Capitol switch. Now, I'm not saying she's a puppet. The hunting, the climbing, the alliance with Rue, keeping Peeta breathing, those are hers. But all of that happens inside a box whose walls move on command and whose exits only open with permission. A brilliant player can still not be the one who decides if she wins. Even her legend starts with a number she didn't earn cleanly, the famous score. In the movie, it's just the result.
And finally, from District 12,
Katniss Everdeen with a score of 11.
An 11, the highest score in the field, higher than the trained careers from Districts 1 and 2, the number that makes the Capitol crowd fall in love with her, the number that draws the sponsors who send the parachutes that keep her alive. In the script, Seneca overrides his own staff to hand her that number. His assistant questions it twice. The stage direction calls his reasoning a lie, and he just says, just post it. But the canonical version does the work on its own. The transcript shows the president of Panem personally tracking the girl's number like a political event, not a sports stat.
An 11?
She earned it.
She shot an arrow at your head.
Snow is reacting to a problem his own production amplified. And the same script puts a producer's boast on Seneca's mouth that frames the whole thing. I can control everything about the games, except who's in them. So everything except the casting. That's the line of a producer who runs every variable but one. Who goes up the tubes? So here's the board as it stands. The arena is built, the hazards are placed, the path is steered. The motive is stated, the survival is gated. By the time Katniss is fighting for her own life, almost every lever that decides the outcome is already in someone else's hands. But here's the thing the audience holds on to the hardest. That whatever else was fake, the romance that saved her was real. And Katniss herself was real. That's the next thing to fall. This is the part that genuinely hurts because it's the thing the audiences love most. The love story. The thing that saves them. It was a counterinsurgency assignment, and the movie tells you that in plain English. Go back to right after Little Rue dies. Katniss covers her in flowers, raises 3 fingers, and District 11 riots. The broadcast just generated real political energy the producers can no longer contain.
I know you know how to handle a mob. You've done it before. If you can't scare them, give them something to root for.
Such as?
Young love.
There it is, the romance, the thing the entire audience reads as Katniss and Peeta's private, stolen feeling. At the production level, it's named out loud as a tool to diffuse a mob. This is crowd control by screenplay. And the crew tells you straight to your face that's the job. Haymitch, her own mentor, the one guy who's supposed to be on her side, describes the love story like inventory.
Now, I can sell the star-crossed lovers from District 12.
We are not star-crossed lovers.
It's a television show.
Her own mentor calls the romance a saleable product to her face.
Being in love with that boy might just get you sponsors, which could save your damn life.
A thing you sell, a thing that moves sponsors. So line it all up. Haymitch orders Young Love to contain the districts. Haymitch packages Young Love to move the product. The angle the Capitol describes from the top and the angle Katniss uses to survive are the same angle. She didn't hijack the broadcast. She performed the role the broadcast called for. I genuinely don't know how much of what Katniss feels in that cave scene is real. The film deliberately keeps that blurry. Maybe she does care about Peeta. Maybe the performance and the feeling are tangled so tightly that even she can't separate them. The theory doesn't need to resolve that, and there's a real counter-argument here too. People will say Haymitch genuinely cares about her, and so does Cinna, and that's true. This isn't all cold-blooded cynicism, but that's the trap the movie sets. Inside this system, caring about Katniss and producing Katniss are the same action. The only way Haymitch can keep her alive is to package her. Affection and marketing aren't opposites here, they're fused. And here's the line that locks it straight from the film. After the games are over, after the berries, Haymitch pulls Katniss aside to coach her for the victory interview. He doesn't say, tell the truth, he hands her the script.
They ask, you say you couldn't help yourself. You were so in love with this boy that the thought of not being with him was unthinkable. You'd rather die than not be with him, you understand?
He's literally writing her lines and then watch her deliver them. The final interview, Caesar asks how she felt when she found Peeta wounded.
I felt like the happiest person in the world. I couldn't imagine life without him.
And that sincere-sounding moment is a line Haymitch fed her 30 seconds earlier. The thing you remember as the most genuine confession is a rehearsed read. The realist face she makes is acting. So stack the canonical lines and watch who benefits. District 11 rises, Seneca orders Young Love. The romance is openly called a television show. Her most heartfelt line is one her mentor wrote. Every link in that chain is the Capitol's hand. The victory you remember as defiance was assembled on screen as a pacifier. And if you think you've got a read on whether Katniss knew she was performing that romance or genuinely fell into it, drop it in the comments. The movie's really slippery there, and I want to hear what you have to say. And that leaves only one question. If the Capitol decides where she goes, why they want her alive, and what story she performs, who decides whether she actually stays alive at the very end? Because there's a switch for that too, and for 10 seconds, it slips. This is the boundary of the theory, and it's the part that makes it bulletproof instead of just clever, so I want to be really precise. It starts with a rule change. Out of nowhere, the Capitol's own voice comes over the arena.
Regulations requiring a single victor have been suspended. 2 victors may be crowned if both originate from the same district.
This is the move that makes Katniss a winner at all, and almost nobody clocks it. Before this, she and Peeta are enemies. The rule says one has to kill the other. There is no version of the story where both of them walk out, until the Capitol, by fiat over the loudspeaker, invents one. And notice the timing. The rule doesn't change because Katniss did something clever. It changes right after Seneca orders young love and after the districts start to stir. It's a top-down move. The rule rewards the romance the regime itself just assigned. The Capitol didn't bend to their lovers. The Capitol built the lovers, then changed the rules so its own creation could live. Then the production clears the board, the mutts spawn, and watch how the characters themselves read it.
What time is it?
Well, afternoon.
Why is it getting so dark?
Must be in a hurry to end it.
The kids in the arena know. A character looks at the sky going dark in the middle of the day and correctly reads it as a programming decision. Not night is falling. The finale. The monsters that drive Cato to his death are the show wrapping its episode on schedule. So now we're down to 2, Katniss and Peeta. Exactly the 2 the rule change set up. And then the Capitol yanks it back.
There has been a slight rule change. The previous revision, allowing for 2 victors from the same district, has been revoked. Only 1 victor may be crowned. Good luck.
This is the moment people point to as proof she beat them. See, they revoked it, which proves the Capitol genuinely opposed her, so when she forced it, that was a rebellion. It's the best counter-argument in the movie, and I want to meet it head-on because I think it flips the other way. Look at what the revocation is. The Capitol just reached into a live competition and rewrote the win condition on the contestants. Twice now. They suspended the 1 victor rule, then revoked the suspension. The defining feature of a real contest is that the rules are fixed when you play. The fact that the Capitol can grant victor status, revoke it, and the contestants just have to absorb it, that's not evidence the outcome was in Katniss's hands. That's proof it was never in her hands. She didn't beat the rules. She got caught between 2 rule changes. Now we arrive at the berries. Katniss goes off script, not a parachute or a prescribed angle or a steered path. A player looking at the produced ending and refusing to perform it. And listen to who panics.
One of us has to die. They have to have their victor.
No. They don't. Why should they?
Stop! Stop!
That's the control room. The same control room that turns firewalls and dims the sky on schedule, frantically interrupting its own rule change to prevent a no-victor outcome. For the first time in the entire film, the production is reacting to the cast instead of directing it. The berries are the single genuine improvisation in the whole movie. So, no, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you nothing Katniss did mattered. The berries mattered, and that beat is hers, full stop, and it's the reason this story has a sequel. But watch what happens in the very next breath. The movie does not let her hold the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the winners of the 74th Annual Hunger Games.
May I present, like a host, like an MC unveiling a finale he planned all along. In the span of under a minute, the Capitol that previously granted 2 victors revokes it and then re-grants it, and folds her improvisation back into the broadcast as if it were the scripted climax. She didn't break the show, she wrote the season finale. The revoked announcement was theater. The Capitol produced the victory. Katniss authored the meaning. They built an ending where the 2 lovers survived as a contained, hope-dispensing, regime-affirming pacifier. She took that exact ending and converted it into, we would rather die than let you have a victor. Same survivors, opposite message. She didn't escape the script, she hijacked it in its final 10 seconds and made it say the one thing it was built to prevent. And this is where I have to address the strongest objection to everything I've said. If the Capitol produced her win, why does Snow end the movie seething? A produced victory should leave the regime happy. His disdain proves she beat them, doesn't it? I think it proves the opposite. Watch what Haymitch tells her afterwards, and notice he's not congratulating a champion, he's warning a liability.
They're not happy with you
Why? Because I didn't die?
because you showed them up.
That's the whole theory in 5 words. Snow isn't angry that she won. Remember his own doctrine. A sympathetic winner is the entire point. What he didn't want was a winner who reveals the show is riggable. His problem isn't the result, his problem is the leak. She showed the audience the seams in the production. So when you watch it the way the movie actually lays out, the rule that made her eligible, the mutts that cleared the board, the rule that tried to force one winner, the berries that broke the script, and the instant regrant that swallowed the break, the iconic victory isn't a girl beating the system, it's the system losing its grip for 10 seconds and re-editing in real time. So the movie everyone remembers as One Girl Beats the Machine is, on its own dialogue, the story of a machine that builds a winner and briefly fumbles the remote. And the berries aren't the moment she won, they're the moment the machine's authorship became visible. So what does that actually do to the rest of the story? It changes who Katniss is walking into the next chapter. She doesn't leave that arena as a champion, she leaves it as a problem the Capitol now has to contain. A winner, for 10 seconds of live television, showed an entire nation that the show can be broken. Snow's own rule was that hope is fine as long as it's contained. The berries are the exact instant containment failed in front of everyone. The Mockingjay they're all so afraid of going forward isn't a fighter. It's a production error that learned it was on camera. And here's why this matters. The franchise is still being built. There's a new prequel landing this November, Sunrise on the Reaping, going back to the games that made Haymitch. And if this interpretation holds, here's what to watch for. That prequel is, by definition, a story about a production being engineered before our cameras. Haymitch already knows this whole apparatus from the inside. He's the one in our movie who calls the love a television show, who explains the gifts are gated through Seneca. The cynicism in his voice here isn't bitterness. It's a man who read the script before she did because he was once the product. The prequel can't show you a fair fight he won, it has to show you the machine choosing him and breaking him the same way it chose her. And thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want more of these and tell me in the comments whether I've been hovering too close to the edge of the map. As for the next video, I didn't pick it. The algorithm did. It runs on Contained Hope too, dispensing one video at a time to keep you watching. And it really thinks you'll like this one, so go check it out.